It's like when they scored, they kind of went back to retreating, kind of keeping their shape, kind of playing very defensive and kind of just hoping for the best. But then I just don't get why they would do that. Gareth Southgate isn't standing on the sideline shouting at them, telling them to go back and go back. Like, I'm sure he's going to want them to be attacking. I'm sure he sensed that they had a lot of the momentum like after they'd score. So why then did the players decide to then retreat and kind of play a lot more defensive after they had scored? So the Euros 2024 has now come to an end. We have a champion. Spain have taken away the trophy, winning the match in 2-1 against England. That was a difficult match to watch because I had England winning it, but Spain have been dominant throughout the tournament, so very well done to them. In this video, we're going to break down the final. We're going to look at both teams coming into the final, and we're going to look at what Spain did really well to win the trophy and what England didn't do or what they could have done to then win the trophy. We're going to explore all of these things from a tactical and a mental standpoint in this video today. So Spain versus England in the Euros 2024 final. Coming into it, it looked like it could be an interesting contest. Definitely Spain was favourites to win the match based on just all their matches beforehand. They've just been dominant throughout the tournament. Looking at their semi-finals first, we can see against a France side that was supposed to be very competitive, and it looked like it was gearing up to be when France scored early. In my previous video, I did say that Spain were going to win, but I really thought that if Spain started off really well, France wouldn't be able to respond. However, in the actual match, France actually started off really well, got a really early good goal, and it looked like they were going to kind of capitalize on scoring, kind of just maintain this to potentially punch their ticket into the final. However, Spain responded smoothly, quickly. It didn't even look like it bothered them. They had a great response from conceding a goal to equalize and then eventually winning the match. And just throughout it, just with all of their matches, it just never looked like they were really concerned about the final score at any stage of the match. And so they punched their ticket into the final, and they were waiting, of course, to see England and Netherlands who was going to win. Looking at that semi-final between England and Netherlands, that one was an interesting one because, again, in my previous video, I really thought that this could be close and there would be a lot of psychological elements that would be important to dictating who was going to win that match. Netherlands had a lot of momentum coming into the semi-final, as it just felt like in each game they've just been getting better and better and better and better, and they were now playing against an England side who were really just kind of doing well, but they were just doing enough to then win the match. And so in the semi-final, we saw Netherlands doing really well, and they also scored. Even though England were down, they still were kind of maintaining what they could do to kind of stay in the game. And so we could really see when it got to that second half a bit later on, they really kind of shifted things into kind of another gear, and that really helped them to kind of come back. And in that 90 minutes, Watkins delivered an amazing goal to then send England into the final. We can see in that game, England had a great ability to manage that pressure because it really didn't look like they were going to win, or it was more likely for England and Netherlands to kind of take it to extra time and potentially penalties. So for England to kind of manage the pressure, continue to put their attacking players in good situations, and then Watkins to kind of capitalize on that, really kind of showcase that in this final there are some positive things that they could do against Spain. And so now we get to the final, Spain versus England. Being in England, there was a lot of hype around England, of course, winning. They were in this place, a last tournament, getting to the final, unfortunately losing. But throughout the tournament, in those elements that England did bad in the previous series, we could really see that started to be a strength of theirs. So their ability to manage pressure, their ability to score penalties, and their ability to work together as a team when they're in those pressured situations. We can see throughout the tournament, England did well, but then were they going to be able to do that against a Spain side who had been consistently dominant throughout the entire tournament? We could even see that at the end, them taking away, of course, the Young Player Award, Best Young Player, and as well the Best Player in the tournament, both coming from Spain. So on paper, it really did look like Spain were going to win. But of course, being in England, a lot of media were hyping England and kind of hoping that they were going to win. We can see Spain, just from a mental standpoint, they were just great at role clarity, pressure management. It just really felt like they had a great level of team confidence throughout the entire tournament. Everybody knew their role, everyone knew what they were focusing on, the attacking preference of football, trying to make vertical kind of passes, getting the ball as early and quick as possible to their wingers, and getting everyone in great positions to then score. We can see their midfield did an amazing job of that within that final, and really kind of made England feel very scared at the possibility of Spain kind of passing the ball around them and putting themselves in good positions to score. At first, I did think that might happen, but then in the second half when Rodri came off, I think me and probably the whole England team gave like a sigh of relief, thinking that him being off is going to help England. But Spain came out ready to go. I don't know who gave their team talk, but after half time, they came out ready to go. They scored their goal and it just looked like they were going to kind of kick in another 2 or 3 and kind of just maintain that positive performance that they were doing. But England did come back. Really good substitutions by Gareth Southgate, and they really did make a difference. They ended up scoring, of course, Cole Palmer, a cool, calm and collected, a nice finish. And it really just felt like, okay, England are going to build on this and potentially win, or potentially even just try and win. But that just didn't happen. Just like in the semi-finals against France, Spain, it just didn't look like they were that concerned. They kind of maintained their good levels of managing that pressure. They maintained that team confidence. They continued to get their players in good positions to score, and they just had a great team goal to kind of win the game. It wasn't a one person just dribbling around spectacularly. You can really see that team focus on them attempting to score, and that's how they sealed the win. So kind of looking at this from England's standpoint, it's like England did good in some areas, but then absolutely terrible in others. So in some situations within the match, like England did really good. Like they got into some good scoring positions, but they just lacked that quality in the final third to kind of capitalize on what they've done to then either get a good shot attempt on goal or to score. We could really see kind of from a mental standpoint, England just lacked some levels of team confidence. So the only times they really showed that heightened level of aggression and really trying to go for it is when they went down. And the thing is, when they went down, they were playing really well, got some good chances, and then eventually scored. So then in my head, I'm thinking, okay, they're going to build on this momentum. The majority of fans there were supporting England. They've got the crowd behind them. They've just scored. They've got Spain on their heels a little bit. So build on this momentum, get some good chances, and maybe steal this win. But that just didn't happen. It's like when they scored, they kind of went back to retreating, kind of keeping their shape, kind of playing very defensive and kind of just hoping for the best. But then I just don't get why they would do that. Gareth Southgate isn't standing on the sideline shouting at them, telling them to go back and go back. Like, I'm sure he's going to want them to be attacking. I'm sure he sensed that they had a lot of the momentum like after they'd score. So why then did the players decide to then retreat and kind of play a lot more defensive after they had scored? I think from my point of view, it could be a mental thing. It could be that whole fear of failure, fear of kind of losing what they have instead of trying to get more. I don't think it's anything from a technical standpoint, because again, looking at all of these players at club level, they are great on the ball, they're great at attacking, they're great at putting their teammates in good positions to score. But then maybe from a mental standpoint, when you combine all of these good talents together, they might be fearful that if they do press and they do attack, then Spain is just going to unpick them and kind of score an easy goal. And the ironic thing is, them trying to be kind of retreating back and protecting what they have led to Spain kind of capitalizing on that and then eventually scoring. So all in all, Euros 2024 has been an interesting one. Yes, there were some very boring games, but there were some dramatic games as well. The fans have been amazing from all the different countries, and it's been great to kind of see all the different countries, their tactical and mental elements of what made them successful. Do we think Gareth Southgate should be sacked? That's going to be a tricky one, because yes, he's spoken about potentially leaving, but he's the coach that has brought England back to relevancy, brought them to 2 Euros finals, World Cup semi-finals, has put England in a great position now. But is his style of play and the tactics that he's employing, is that good enough for then England to then score lots of goals and actually win these trophies rather than just kind of getting there and hoping for the best? What do we think about Harry Kane? Do we think he's going to be dropped from England going forward? We saw that when Gareth Southgate made those substitutions with Cole Palmer and Watkins in both matches, they did really well. Maybe they should have started. So maybe Kane might not be coming back. What do we think in the comment section? Let me know. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.